Mr. Superintendent.
Mr. Barry, can I invite up Monica Borges to present the Boy Scout troop?
Yes, I'd like to introduce Troop 303 from Marlborough, the Marcella Borges, Paula Borges, Brady Eldridge, James Martinez, and Tarun Purushaman. And I think Dylan Seemigal will be arriving soon.
Thank
Thank
you
you
for
so
coming.
much.
You're going to lead us in the pledge, please?
Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. No presentations, Mr. Superintendent?
There will be an action item later on in the meeting for the high school to present on the ENT course, and they will do a slight presentation at that point.
Thank you. How about your report?
Thank you. Apologize in advance. I'll probably have to take a water break or two. First, I'd like to recognize two students from Marlborough High School who were selected as the Worcester County Superintendent Association Scholars. Marlborough was able to nominate two scholars, Esther De Rocha and Carrie Seibel. Esther ranks 5th in her class with an overall 4.74 GPA. Esther is a member of the National Honor Society, Tri-M Honor Society. Esther is also the co-president of Habitat for Humanity and is the secretary of the Student Council. In speaking with Esther, she's interested in possibly exploring film production in her post-secondary academic career and has received acceptances to several colleges. Carrie is 3rd in her class with an overall 4.765 GPA. Carrie is a member of the National Honor Society and has interned at Marlborough Hospital. Carrie is a 4-year varsity soccer player and is involved in Marlborough youth soccer and peer tutoring. In speaking with Carrie, she's interested in becoming a physician's assistant, possibly, and has received acceptances to several colleges. I want to thank both Esther and Carrie for coming tonight. I know Carrie's here. I'm not sure if I see Esther. Carrie, if you'd like to come up, we'd like to recognize you. And I'd like to thank Principal Dan Raleigh for nominating them both. So thank you very much. Would you like to address the committee?
Thank you. I don't know what else to say.
Well, thank you very much. Keep up the good work.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I'd also like to recognize additional John and Abigail Adams scholars. David Brialt, Kyle Cardetti, Angie Flores, Bailey Honor Chavez, Anthony Rangel, Emma Sargent, Lorena Silver. Congratulations to all these students for their high achievement on the comprehensive high school assessment and becoming a John and Abigail Adams Scholar. Third, I'd like to talk about the equity funding and education funding that is currently in the legislative track with the legislature right now. On January 8th, the Massachusetts Association of School Superintendents held public forums at Fitchburg State University, Malden High School, and New Bedford High School to bring attention to the inequality in our school in relation to the Chapter 70 funding formula. Since the November 2011 report, Cutting Class, and the work of the Foundation Budget Review Committee has been completed, MASS, which is my association, MASC, which is your association, MTA, and the AFT are working to shed light on this ongoing funding issue relative to education. I am anticipating that the governor will address some aspects of the findings in his budget, which will be out in late January. And additionally, the governor has said that he will be proposing legislation for the summer for this year to specifically address education. The associations are anticipating that a bill will be filed by the end of the summer to handle the Chapter 70 funding issue. Progress towards this goal is important, and I support efforts to create equity in funding programs. Marlborough has seen growth in their Chapter 70 funding since I've been in this district. From FY14 to FY19, our Chapter 70 funding has increased over $8.7 million. There have been models proposed by Mass Budget where the recommendations are included in the formula, recommendations from the FBRC, the Foundation Budget Review Committee, and the results would be an additional funds to Marlborough over the next 5 years. In the two models that are put forward, it would either deliver $3.9 million or $8.7 million in additional Chapter 70 aid, depending on whether or not they are including changes to the low-income students in the foundation budget. Regardless of the outcome, education spending is a local decision. As the legislation and information from the governor's office becomes available, I'll do my best to update the committee as to the progress. I think you're going to find out just as fast as I will, though. In the near future, our partners at the MTA may come in front of the committee to request your support for the legislation towards fixing the funding formula as well. So I look forward to that request for an agenda item. Fourth, I'd like to just say I wanted to put a draft timeline for the principal search here. So we did post a job. The posting closes on January 24th. When we say paper cut, that's just the first cut that management goes through to select candidates who have certification for the position and the required experience. We're going to contact candidates for a first round interview by the end of this month. Begin the interviews in the first 2 weeks of February, excuse me. We're going to do second round interviews after the break, and we anticipate finalist interviews in the first week of March. We do expect to offer to the finalists in the middle of March and bring that also to school committee at the same time. This, of course, doesn't encounter any snow issues or anything that needs to be canceled or rescheduled. So that's our draft timeline. I'm not sure if there's any questions from the committee on my report.
Questions from the committee? Any questions from the committee? Thank you very much.
Thank-
Mr. Diaz.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have 5 quick updates from Finance and Operations tonight. First, an update on our budget process for FY20. The administration, led by Superintendent Bergeron, is reviewing and approving budget requests. We have started meeting with principals to review their level service budget and the adjustments for class sizes and additional budget requests for FY20. The next step is to develop the FY20 budget book, as well as the munis detailed that we give for all of you, which I'm sure you're excited about. That's scheduled for February 12th. The cafeteria balances as of last week were roughly negative $3,200. That compares to about negative $2,300 at the same time last year. The last time I updated on this number, we were at about 3,500. So we've made some progress, but we still have some work to do here. And my team and I will continue to work on that. Andy White in Facilities has identified some improvements that we can seek to complete during the school year, ideally on the February break. We have completed one. During the December break, we installed new windows in 4 Jarrett classrooms. In February, we'll be seeking to install new screens at Richer, a vestibule at Richer, and we'll continue our important security camera upgrades throughout the district. Tonight, I'm attaching a list of budget transfers for you to consider. This is in addition to my fairly large request last meeting. These items are mostly for reconciliation, other than a couple that I'll be bringing to your attention. At this point, we expect a successful FY19. The budget is looking great, and we are confident that we'll be able to fund the capital technology plan fully, as we have in the past couple of years. Last but not least, construction update for the new elementary building. If you've driven by, you know the site is busy. As of last week, the weather was very helpful and things were ahead of schedule. The foundation work has started. The general contractor will be ordering steel soon. We had some important utility work done last week on Poirier Road. And Mike and I continue to attend weekly construction meetings. We do want to point out that we're very grateful for the support of Commissioner Galani, as well as all city personnel that attend those meetings with us. They've been incredibly helpful. So, thank you. That's my update for tonight.
Thank you. Questions from the committee? Questions from the committee? I just want to mention, especially to the committee members, because I know you're concerned about it, but security camera upgrades. We have the funding for 2 of the schools. These are the ones being completed in February. And I asked John Maloney and Mark to continue with the process. I'll find the extra $150,000. I want to finish all the schools.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
It's great.
Thank you.
We're a little bit short, but we're going to find that money and keep the process going.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Minutes of January 8th, 2019.
Motion to approve.
Motion made, second. Approve, any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Carries. Public participation. Any public participation? Any public participation? Seeing none. EMT, MHS.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to invite up Dan Riley, principal of Marlborough High School, and he's going to give a presentation on a partnership with Patriot Ambulance and a fantastic program for our students.
The PowerPoint. Hi, good evening, everyone. We're going to utilize the PowerPoint. Oh, okay, all right. It's in the packets. Okay, all right. That's okay. It'll expedite the presentations. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me tonight. As you know, we are continuing to develop incredible work-based learning opportunities for our students at MHS. This is an example of that. So before I give you some of the details, I just want to recognize members of this development committee. Some of them are here with us tonight. First, Brandy DeBarge from Patriot Ambulance. Brandy, will you stand for a minute? Brandy is the education supervisor for Patriot Ambulance and helped us design this curriculum that I'm going to talk a little bit about tonight. Also, Meredith Harris, who isn't with us tonight, but she is the executive director of MEDC. Meredith was also involved in this development. Laura Bilazarian-Perudian. Laura, will you stand up? Laura is the director of Youth Career Services at Mass Higher, Metro and Southwest. Amanda Chenier, who's our career specialist at Marlborough High School. And Sharon Buckley, who's also not here with us tonight, but she's our supervisor of student services for MPS. So pretty well-rounded development committee. And in that packet that you have with that PowerPoint, you can see some of the details of this program, which is structured to be built into a senior's school day. So the senior student would come to Marlborough High School for approximately 3 hours. They'd be dismissed around 10:30 in the morning. And for the remainder of the day, they would spend their time with the professionals at Patriot Ambulance, pursuing an EMT certification, training in emergency medical dispatch, as well as a 90-hour internship throughout the school year. It's a wonderful program. It's being built into our curriculum. One of the proposals that is put in front of you tonight is to consider this for our upcoming program of studies conversations, that this would be a 12-credit program for participating seniors. We are covering the costs for students to participate in this program. We are aiming for a pilot group of approximately 10 students going into next year. We feel like that's a good sample size to start with as we continue to build out these incredible opportunities, not just in healthcare, also in advanced manufacturing and IT in the future as we get our feet underneath us with these new exceptional opportunities during the school day. So with that brief overview, we look at doing some marketing with parents and students in the upcoming months per your acceptance of this proposal. But first, I'm sure you have some questions, so I'll turn it back over to the committee for any questions.
Question from the committee?
Sorry, the only thing, I guess, which probably is going to come up is the discussion around the graduation requirements.
Sure.
And making sure, because I know when we've had those discussions with you policy-wise over the last couple of years, we've talked about certain programs that would need some flexibility, working with you all. I guess I think we just need to make sure that we're all on the same page about how to move this forward and make sure that we're articulating that, especially with working with like Sharon with guidance and making sure that we're meeting all of Mass Core requirements or adapting as need be per the expectations of, you know, this great program and this opportunity.
Yeah, it's a wonderful point. Right now, in our graduation requirements, we have 2 4-year requirements. It's mathematics and ELA. And if you add up the credits each year and you say a student gets an average of about 26 credits per year, that puts a student at roughly 78 credits by the time they go into their senior year. And so with this 12-credit experience and then taking a couple of classes in the morning, that being their 4th-year requirement of math and ELA, it still gives them plenty of allowance to meet the graduation requirement and Mass Core and participate in this program.
Perfect.
And there might be an opportunity where we do have to make a decision for a student in the best interest of the student.
Sure.
You know, if we value that this program is going to work for them, I think we have to make one-on-one decisions. And that's why we appreciate the discussion we'd had in policy about that.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things that I think is really critical, because you're allowing for different opportunities to present itself to make sure that we're, you know, as we've always said about the whole child, making sure that we're finding opportunities for our students wherever they might feel the most comfortable, but yet meeting the educational needs too. So this is a great opportunity. I'd love to just make sure that we're continuing that conversation so that we make sure our policy then is able to work hand in hand with these kind of programs and other opportunities, because I know you talked before about computer science opportunities down the road. So I just want to make sure we're on the same page with it, which I think we are, but thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. The opportunity to build this into a comprehensive high school. We are pioneers, as usual, and we take great pride in that, but doing it right to make sure that we meet all those requirements is important too.
Sounds great. Thank you, Dan.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think this is a great program, and I want to thank Patriot. They've been
Yeah.
a great partner for the city for a long time, and to step up and be the first ones to do this, it's really good. I had an opportunity last week to go down to a presentation for some grants that were given to one of our local high-tech company, Schumann Laser.
Excellent.
After the program was done, and Lieutenant Governor gave a check for $2.5 million to the company for moving their processes forward and buying new equipment and growing here in the city. As we were taking the tour, the owner of the company had mentioned, you know, I have some great jobs, white room, laser technology. I even take some good kids out of high school that aren't ready for college yet. We'll train them well if we can just get them learning certain skills through their high school years. So Lieutenant Governor turned to me and said, I'll find some money if you want to develop a curriculum.
Excellent.
And so we're going to be setting something up.
Perfect.
Sit down, see if we can get maybe even 5 or 6 of the leading companies in the city to say, okay, if we're going to develop a curriculum for kids that are going right into the workforce, you know, we work with them. I think working with the people that are here tonight, we've been down to GE and Quest, and they're saying the same thing. We can take some good kids that aren't quite ready for college yet, and they also say, a couple years later, we guarantee you they're going to be wanting to go back to school, and they're going to pay for it.
Yep.
You know, they're going to end up with a free education when it's done. So I'm excited when I heard that. Now we got to get the money out of her, set up the curriculum.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you.
very much.
Thank you, Brandy. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dan.
Thank you.
So at this point, are we gonna, Dan, at this point, do we need any vote for program of studies, or can we wait for program of studies time?
Yeah, I think just putting it out there to you in advance so that when we have the program of studies conversations, there isn't too many new things being thrown in there at once. So,
Okay.
No action needed. Thank you.
thank you.
Mr. Diaz.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have a few additional transfers for the committee to consider tonight. Last time out, I had a significant number of transfers, and tonight I have some more. So I just want to explain that the reason why some transfers keep coming up in salary lines especially is that throughout the year we have some changes such as attrition, lane changes, sometimes just paying employees for additional hours worked that causes these lines to go over. Sometimes they go in our favor, and we have some savings. So that's, I just want to throw that out first. I have 3 pages. The first page, I have some transfers for ECC. The most important transfer request here is $20,000 into the ECC's behavior tech line. This is a enrollment-driven need. We had some changes that require us to bring in some additional behavior tech support. Also on the first line there is Jarek, $1,600 transferred into a teacher account due to a lane change. On the second page, we have more of the same. Over at Richard, we have one $12,000 request for transferring to a behavior tech line, also enrollment driven, as well as $1,100 into a sped teacher line due to a lane change. At Whitcomb, we are requesting $1,400 into a teacher account due to a teacher being covered by a long-term sub on that same account, and that line went over. I'm requesting $6,000 because I anticipate that will be what we need for the rest of the year, so that line will be all set. A confession here at Marlborough High, second page, third box. There's $9,100 here. This was caused due to a typo from my request last week. There was one digit number on the account number. So you approved the correct account. I wrote down the wrong account number. I wanted to bring that up in front of you for new approval so that it goes into the correct account. My sincere apologies about that. And last but not least, this is the district-wide accounts. There were a few accounts that went over, and I'm bringing those, I'm reconciling all of those. There's one large transfer here that I wanted to point out to you. That's $31,145. And the reason we're requesting this transfer is to support our partnership with the city for the new SRO over at Whitcomb. So that as part of that deal, I'm requesting for that $35,000 to be transferred, or 31. I'm sorry, that's the account is currently under by $31,000. We are requesting a $50,000 transfer to support that partnership. Happy to answer any questions.
Questions from the committee? Entertain a motion?
Motion to approve?
Motion made and seconded to approve. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Thank you.
Policies are.
Policies are, wow, I like that. So, thank you all. Obviously, we brought forward a number of these policies at our last meeting for first read. Since then, I have not heard from anyone, so I'm hoping we're moving right on through here. So, I will make a motion to move forward with accepting policy 2.210 with the amendments as noted for powers and duties.
Motion made and seconded to approve policy number 2.210, powers and duties. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Carries.
Thank you very much. Next policy would be, I'd like to make a motion for policy number 2.340, the school committee superintendent relationship. Oh, I skipped one. Never mind, I apologize. My finger, I moved. How about going backwards so we can keep an order? I'd like to make a motion for moving forward policy number 2.333, which is duties of the secretary.
Motion made and seconded to approve. Duties of the secretary. Policy number 2.333. Any discussion? Seeing none. Ms. Matthews.
The
One
secretary
typo.
has something.
One typo.
Yes.
At the end of 3, you're missing the period.
Oh, thank you.
On the motion to approve as amended, any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Carries.
Thank you very much. I will make that change. I'd like to make a motion to move forward policy number 2.340, which is school committee superintendent relationship, with the amendments as noted.
Motion made and seconded to approve. Any discussion? Ms. Matthews.
In number 4, you're missing the word "to." District will work to achieve those goals and expectations.
Just want to make sure I see it.
Motion made and seconded to approve as amended. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Carries.
Thank you very much. Next would be, I'd like to make a motion to move forward accepting policy number 2.350, subcommittees with the amendments as noted.
Motion made and seconded to approve. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in
No, wasn't me this time, sorry.
My only question was on the first line. It looks like
looks like policy and negotiations is one subcommittee, the way that I read it. I don't know if there's another way to word it, or maybe I
Do you
just.
want a comma in
It
there?
needs like a something.
We can do that comma thing that we've talked about before, if you would like after policy to have that
It
separation.
just, when I read it, it sounded like somebody who may not be
Yeah.
familiar, may not realize that it's a policy subcommittee and a negotiation subcommittee.
We can do that for you.
Okay, thank you
Will that make you feel better?
much.
Motion made and seconded to approve as amended. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Carries.
Thank you. So I'd like to make a motion to, I want to make sure I'm doing the right one because I keep on missing. Policy number 2.400, school committee meetings, with the amendments as noted.
Motion made and seconded to approve. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Carries.
Thank you. I'd like to make a motion to move forward. Policy number 2.421, regular meeting policy, with the amendments as noted.
Motion made and seconded to approve. Mrs. Matthews.
You may have already had this conversation in your policy meeting, but 3 is not what we follow, so I'm not sure why you would continue to keep 3 the way it is. We haven't done that since we had paper, when we went away from paper.
I have paper.
Well, it's
Saturdays is the issue also for me.
sent by Saturday, so it's sent by Saturday.
That is correct.
Email we're
Oh,
using
but I
as.
would have said an end of business on Friday, because with posting, you can't post on a Saturday anyhow.
I mean, we looked at it being prior to, so it's by. I mean, we can change that. I mean, it
I
just.
mean, we used to literally get them handed to us on Saturdays sometimes. So I think that's where the Saturday came from, when they were sending the mail driver around.
If you would prefer doing a by end of, end of day Friday, I mean, we could. We looked
It's
at
just
it
not
as.
the practice, I mean, I don't know.
Anyone? I mean, it
If it
doesn't.
goes out on Friday, everybody gets it by Saturday. So it's not inaccurate.
Okay.
But if it would make you feel better, we could change it.
And sent is vague enough to cover however you do it?
Yeah.
We actually had talked through that a number of times, and we felt like, because we really don't know what the future could be, sent classifies for a lot of things.
Well, published could be the same thing too, right? Because it's,
What do we want to do?
leave it as is, that's fine.
Motion made and seconded to approve. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Carries.
Okay, thank you. So, let's see. I'd like to make a motion to move forward for approval, policy 2.432, special meetings policy, with the amendments as noted.
Motion made and seconded to approve. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Carries.
Thank you. Next would be, I'd like to make a motion to move forward, policy number 2.441 for approval as amended.
Motion made and seconded to approve. Policy 2441. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Carries.
Thank you. Next up, I'd like to make a motion to move forward for approval, policy number 2.442, order of business.
Motion made and seconded to approve policy 2.442. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Carries.
Thank you. I'd like to make a motion to move forward for approval, policy number 2.442.1, presentation policy, with the amendments as noted.
Motion made and seconded to approve 2.442.1. Any discussion on that? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Carries.
We've been busy.
Good job.
Thank you. I'd like to make a motion to move forward for approval, policy number 2.442.2, which is communication policy.
Motion made and seconded to approve policy 2.442.2. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Carries.
Thank you. Next, I'd like to make a motion to move forward for approval, policy number 2.442.3, superintendent's policies with the amendments as noted.
Motion made and seconded to approve 2.442.3. Ms. Matthews?
Is the heading, is it supposed to be superintendent's policy or superintendent's report?
It's probably superintendent's policy, is my guess, no?
No,
No,
report.
it was report? It is
It's
report. Okay, sure,
Okay, so
sorry.
Makes more sense.
amend report.
So,
Oh,
yeah.
So the title should be
Title.
I will
superintendent's
change the
report.
titling to the superintendent's report policy to make sure that that's aligned.
Motion made and seconded to approve as amended. Any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor? Opposed? Carries.
Thank you. Sorry, just making notes. So I'd like to make a motion to move forward policy number 7.191, which is the student fee policy for, and reimbursement for damaged or lost goods. It's a mouthful.
Motion made and seconded to approve policy 7.191. Ms. Matthews?
And I'm not an English major, but this one, and I don't know if it's right or wrong, and you may have discussed it, in the second to last line, or items the district has provided that have been lost.
It's
As opposed
probably
to
correct, since I wrote that. Take the friendly amendment.
Has and have instead of has and has.
Okay? Yes. Have.
Have, okay.
Motion made and seconded to approve as amended. Any further discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor? Opposed? Carries.
Thank you. So I'd like to make a motion to move forward for approval, policy number 8.100, attendance policy.
Ms. Matthews?
The only thing that I saw that I thought should be in there is anytime it's mentioned parents, that it should be parents/guardians, and that's several places.
We missed a few.
Okay, because I know we were trying
We
to.
went through, we tried to make them all, so we must have missed a few.
No, right under, on the second page, planned extended absences, your first is parents or strongly.
Parents and guardians, it should have been, yep.
Dismissals, the second line. Last sentence of dismissals.
Yep, we encourage parent, okay.
And the first, under excessive absenteeism.
Parents will be notified, so parents, guardians.
Yep.
Okay,
Thank
thank you.
You're welcome.
Any further discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor as amended? All those opposed? Carries.
Thank you. And next up, I'd like to make a motion to approve policy number 9.200, home education programs policy with the amendments as noted.
Motion made and seconded to approve 9.2. Ms. Matthews?
This too, guardians on second page, after the first, number one, bullet
Yeah, I
number
see
one.
parents on number 1.
And on number 4. And 7A.
Thank you.
You got it.
It's nice to have another set of eyes that hasn't been looking at them for a long
A
time.
million times.
Ms.
Yes.
Ryan?
Am I on the right page? My headings have fallen off here. On number 1, are we on the wrong one? Where am I on here? Home education, is that the one we're on?
Yep.
9.2.
The dot, and what's with the several dots after education, and then shall, and then committee? Do you see what I'm talking about?
It's
Yeah.
quoting Mass General Law, that's why.
Okay, so there's just this other words inserted there that we're not putting in the policy?
Yeah, because it would be very, very wordy.
Gotcha, thank you.
Any further discussion?
Things are like falling.
Seeing none. All those in favor of approval as amended? All those opposed? Carries.
Thank you very much.
Good job, thank you. Acceptance of donations and gifts. Life Touch National School Studios Early Childhood Center, $476.21.
Motion to accept.
Motion made, seconded to approve. Any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Donor's Choice. Whitcomb Makerspace Program, $287.35. Hildreth School, $317.67.
Motion to accept.
Motion made and seconded to approve. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Carries. Reports of subcommittees. Any reports of subcommittees? Seeing none. Members forum. Ms. Hennessy.
So first of all, I want to actually thank you very much for your comment earlier about finding the money about the security cameras. You know that it's been something that I've really been asking for years, and I know everybody's been doing what they can in certain areas, but I
have to find
really
something else,
personally appreciate you working to find the money for getting that done.
We'll get them done. We're gonna find the money.
I appreciate that. Second thing I'm going to ask, do we feel like there is, with the government shutdown that has been going on, do we feel like there could be any form of ramifications of things trickling down where we're having issues with some of the funding that we should be receiving? And I ask that only because actually I have a very inquisitive 18-year-old son who was asking me that question, and I said, good question.
We might face times in which some of our funding is delayed, specifically from the USDA, the school lunch program. Part of that money actually comes from the Department of Defense as well. The good news is the Department of Defense is not closed down. So a lot of our commodities comes from DOD,
Yeah.
not the USDA.
Okay.
So there might be some delay in some payments, and it might be a little frustrating, but it's not going to hurt our business. 3 months from now, if I come back to you and I say we're facing a little bit of a different situation, we'll be there. But right now, there's no impact to our operations at this point.
Okay, thank you. That was kind of where my head was, but I'm not dealing with it on a regular basis, so I appreciate that. Thank you.
Ms. Matthews.
And to piggyback on that, anybody who's furloughed can also get free and reduced lunch, correct? Children of.
Any member of the government who's furloughed during this time can apply for free and
Right,
reduced
so,
lunch
I mean-
because they're not currently working.
Right, so anybody who's out there who's,
Thank you for pointing that out.
yeah.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I was going to say that, but
Want to
thank you.
repeat it?
No, no necessary. I want to confirm our date with
30th?
Dorothy Presser on the 30th. You're not going to be available that day?
Don't think I'm available that day, but I'll recheck again tomorrow. I thought I
Okay.
did, but
You sort of, and I just learned tonight that Mr. Geary may not be available that night either. Should we power through and do it anyways?
power through and do it anyways.
I think we should at least take a stab at it.
Yeah, okay. So I'll confirm with Mrs. Presser for the 30th. 6:30 here.
Here?
There will be food, yes. Especially because Mrs. Presser's coming from another meeting straight here to accommodate our time frame. Yeah, she doesn't eat much. Maybe we'll force her to eat
And
more.
I've reviewed the warrant, and we'll sign it.
Thank you.
Sure.
Mr. Superintendent?
Although I'm not a member, I would just like to ask the committee if they would join the Boy Scouts up front so we can take a picture.
We can do that.
Oh, we can do that.
Do that. Anyone else?
Do it.
After the meeting's fine.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion made and seconded to adjourn. All those in favor? Opposed? Carries. Thank you very much.